Welcome to the Maria Heller Show, the Internet's original podcast. Since the year 2000, always ahead of the curve, always on your side. A true warrior for truth and justice, Maria and her guests leave nothing out, and no one is off limits. There is only one truth, the rest is lies. Sit back, enjoy the education with a true daughter of Mother Earth. Sharp New York wit, spiritual knowing, and a very dry sense of humor, Maria will dissect the news and lies to make it all palatable. Education is power. Maria delivers rapid-fire truth like no one else can. Here she is, the mouth that roars, the legendary Maria Heller.
Yep.
Good morning, world. Maria here, alive and kicking. Welcome to The Bigger Picture, a break from the news, a pleasant break from the news, with my excellent co-host, Michael Reccia. If you're not familiar with his work, please get over to josephspeaks.com. And I suggest buying all the books there. Okay, how's that, Michael? Good morning.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much, Maria, and great to be back with you again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Listen, I've been recommending your books to so many people, and they all tell me they start with Your Life After Death, and once they read that, they say they go in and buy all the books.
Yes, yes.
So, I'm very happy that people are finding real, clean spiritual truth.
Thank you.
And you are getting known around the world, surprising as that may be to you. But I had a client in Australia who said that when he heard our show together, he had to check out your work, and he bought all your books.
Yes, I believe so. Yes, that's very gratifying.
And, there are people that actually want that information, so I'm happy to put it out there.
Thank you so much, Maria.
My pleasure. Thank you, because I know what personal cost it is to do that kind of work.
Well, we're lining up for another book next year, so, we need people's good wishes as well. We'll be sitting monthly to bring through a seventh book.
Uh-huh.
You never say never with Joseph, You always think it's the last book, but then he pushes a little bit and pushes a little bit more until you find that you've got to do another one.
Well, it makes sense to me. The world keeps changing. People still keep asking questions. It seems the worse it gets, the more spiritually aware people are getting with what's going on.
Yes, indeed.
So that makes sense. Michael, I do wanted to start the show. I have a question from Patricia.
Okay.
She said, there are a lot of people now who are interested in their family ancestry, going back generations to see where they came from, their family tree. But she says, because of reincarnation and the fact in a past life we were probably in a completely different place with different people, does it make sense to care about our family history?
Yeah, excellent question, Patricia. Thank you for asking that. Yes, there are two ways of looking at family. There's the apparent family that we have, and within that apparent family there can be members that we've known from past lives. And then there's our spiritual family, our greater family, our soul group family. And sometimes the connections that we make through family on earth are not, this is going to sound harsh, as important as we think they are. And sometimes it is more important, they are more important, those links, than we think we are. It's all down to the fact that we have our true personality masked and forgotten and hidden within us. And if we could see who we truly were and how we had lived before, we would instantly connect on earth with those people who are from our true spiritual family. Now, that is not to put down the importance of family here and the importance of the love bonds that we make. Because if we love someone, that bond is eternal. What I'm saying is that there are family members on a soul group level that are closer to us than the people may be on an earthly family level. But also within that earthly family, there may be souls that we have reincarnated with before. And not always in the same positions. They might have been a mother in one life, or a brother in another life, or a sibling in another life, a daughter, a son. We don't always incarnate with the same sex, and we don't always incarnate with the same relationships to the other souls that are around us from our soul group family. It depends on why we have decided to come back and what we have decided to learn. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. She also says, and it's a good point, she said, these ancestries are just really part of this particular physical body. She says, since
yes,
we all
absolutely.
have histories and families in different parts of the world from past lives, she says, during a war, could we be fighting and killing off our own ancestors?
Absolutely. We can be fighting. We never know who the person we are talking to really is. And that gets back to a greater question. Should we judge? And we shouldn't judge based on appearances. We should evaluate based on spiritual appearances, based purely on, do the people that are around us harmonize with us? If they don't harmonize with us, and we know that instantly when we meet someone, don't we? You shake hands with someone, you're introduced to someone, and there is a subconscious reaction to that. Either we instantly like this person, or we instantly think there is something about this person that we dislike. Now, if you substitute for like and dislike, harmony and disharmony, then we make the right choices in approaching the people around us. We should always go with that connection feeling that we have. And if we feel we're in harmony with someone, then we should promote that harmony. If we're in disharmony with someone, then we should move on. Not because we're being cruel, but because we would affect their lives adversely, and they would affect ours adversely. And that's not to say that we don't send light and love to them. We just make the decision that at this particular stage in our existence, that person is someone that we can share something with, or someone that we prefer not to share someone with. But yes, it is possible that we are fighting people that we have known before. And we have to look at the not just people, but the whole world, the whole universe, as a holistic experience, that we are all part of the same thing. So if I harm you, I'm harming myself. If I harm the worm that I tread on, I am harming myself, because both of those are expressions of me, and expressions of the whole, and expressions of the universe. We can't disentangle ourselves from things, and we try to do it all the time. And this is why we perpetuate wars, because we are fighting ourselves all the time, and becoming upset with the disharmony that causes, instead of seeking harmony, seeking balance, and acknowledging that everything is part of everything else, and therefore is of equal importance to us, and of equal importance to each other, and of equal importance to God.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Here we are in the middle of the holidays, and I see on social media, especially around Thanksgiving, everybody dreading to get together with their families. And here you go again with, Christmas and the other holidays coming up. And it'll be a repeat of the same thing. And people always ask me, why that is. And my answer is always the same. I say, just because they're related to you doesn't mean they're your family. Yes.
Blood is not necessarily thicker than water.
Right.
But in those family situations, what happens, of course, is that everybody has a different viewpoint. And everybody tries to protect their own corner at these gatherings. So there's, the aunt you dread, or the uncle you don't talk to, and they're all crammed into the same room. Whereas if they let go for the duration of the festivities of their personal viewpoint, and said, there is no personal viewpoint, there's just us, they would be surprised at how well they got on with each other. And I think that leads into a very important point at this time of year, which is the point of forgiveness and letting go. Letting go. You've got people gathered together around the Christmas dinner, and they will be nursing things that have happened to them between themselves years ago, decades ago, and bringing up those same old emotions that have the same vibrational power as they had when they first happened. So all that is brought to the dinner table in the name of love and harmony.
Right.
We have to learn to let go. I know it's difficult, but it also makes us healthier. It makes us clearer in mind, clearer in spirit, and able to move on into the new experiences that are so essential for our spiritual evolution. So we would have far more harmonious family gatherings this Christmas and any holiday if we let go. If we said, this is now, that was then.
Right.
And we are here to celebrate the fact that there was a message 2,000 years ago to say that we should love each other.
Right.
Not that we should go to Toys R Us or wherever else and give somebody something in a box and think that that's loving each other. We are here to love each other. We are here to turn the other cheek. We are here to harmonize. And that, of course, is the true meaning of Christmas. Not the department stores, not the bling and the jewelry, but to get on with each other, to recognize the self in each other, to recognize the God in each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember, it was probably several Christmases ago when you were on the show, you said something that stuck with me. You said, people are celebrating Christmas, but they celebrate the messenger, but they never got the message.
Yes, indeed.
So,
yes, indeed. They worship the messenger.
Well, I don't know. Today it seems everybody's fighting over what color Jesus was. That's the new thing.
Oh, my goodness.
So somebody got very upset over a Santa Claus in a mall that was black. So somebody said, what would they do if we tell them that Jesus wasn't white?
Yes, indeed.
But it's amazing how much division there is out there. And, to me, it just looks like the time is speeding up. So my own question, for Joseph is, how much closer have we moved on the timeline towards the end of this system?
Well, I can only say that a few months ago, I sensed over the period of a week that things had taken a step downwards. But I always say that if things take a step downwards, and you can sense it in the speeding up that you've just talked about, that we then need to work harder, and that each of these steps is an alarm call. It's a wake-up call to say, we still have time. We still have today. Please God, we still have tomorrow. Let us make the most of today and tomorrow, and recognize that we are able to change things if we will put in the time. We put in time into so many strange things. We'll put time into the shopping, time into the Christmas dinner, time into watching TV, time into the athletics, time into speeding around in fast cars, but we will not take the time for 10 minutes, quarter of an hour in the morning, same at night, to put light into situations. Our priorities are wrong. Our priority should be to restore harmony to each other and to this planet before, as you say, it's too late. It isn't too late. To everybody listening, it's not yet too late. But we have set ourselves on a course with disaster if we don't take personal responsibility and if we don't change. And nobody's going to do it for us. For each person listening and for each person around the world, they have to do it for themselves. It's a huge gift. It's the gift of total freedom and free will. We do it for ourselves, but we are a society that relies on others. Make me better.
Right.
Sort out my finances. Sort out my house. Sort out my situation. Sort out my mental state. We have to at some stage say, it's a gift to be able to be strong enough to do these things for ourselves, and we should be, as much as we can. Nobody's saying that we can't rely on others. We're supposed to rely on others, and we've got the advice of others, thank God. But ultimately, we have to make the decisions. And the most important and enlightened decision, literally, we can make at this time of year, is to say, yes, I am going to send out the light. And I'm going to send it out without prejudice. I'm going to send it out because I recognize that everyone I meet and all those people I haven't met and will never meet during this lifetime are part of me and part of God. And if they are thinking in a violent way, if they're thinking in a way that is against me and against nature and against the planet, then the light that I send out will help them to see sense. I've got to send out enough light so that there is not darkness around them, but light around them so that they can look around one morning and think, oops, I've got it wrong. Now I can get it right. Now I'm working for the light too.
Well said. In your last book, From Here to Infinity, you say something very interesting that most people will not say. You say you don't ingest light, you transmit light.
Yes.
I know a lot of people that sit for hours in meditation trying to get enlightened, bring the light in. Is it that a fallacy? Is it that they're actually sending light out?
The light actually exists within us, as all truth and all spiritual knowledge actually exists within us. That the messages in the Joseph books are not new, they are things that we have forgotten. As Joseph is the first to say, I'm helping you, he says, to remember who you are. And the true personality that we have, the spiritual personality, resides within ourselves, within our heart chamber, within the heart center. And at the heart center, it's like going into a well. It's like putting a bucket into a well and finding that no matter how many times we pull this bucket up, it is always filled with the most brilliant, white, loving, harmonious light. And that's why we need the quiet, because we cannot draw light in from this world. This world is in the grip of the field of human consciousness. And the field of human consciousness is set to negative. It's in the interest of the field of human consciousness to keep us disturbed, to keep us unhealthy, to keep us aging, to keep us at each other's throats. And we have to go within to get beyond. It's a strange thing to say, but by going within to our God center, our heart center, we reach beyond the energies, the polluted energies of the field of human consciousness, and from outside of, if you like, but within us, the field of human consciousness, there exists God light, angelic light. And we then transmit that out from our heart centers, through our imaginations, into the areas of the world that we feel need the most change. So the light comes from inside, as illumination in our personal lives, in our spiritual lives, in our physical lives, comes from within. Our intuition is not outside of ourselves. It's within ourselves. Our guidance is not outside of ourselves, it's within ourselves. So we need to become quiet and to reach in, and there we find everything that we need to change this world and to help ourselves through life.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people. Your greatest teacher for yourself is tuning into your intuition.
Absolutely.
But instead of looking outside yourselves, like you said earlier, fix me, do this for me, do that for me. But you know what? I think that, religions have had a big part in making people dependent that way. Come
Absolutely.
to us, give us money, we'll pray for you.
Yes.
And I remember my dad used to be a Roman Catholic, and at that time, all the masses were in Latin, as if the people didn't have the right to hear them. And my father couldn't understand how they were really not asked or allowed, pretty much, to even read the Bible themselves. They always had to have an in-between.
That's right.
And I think that made people dependent, whether on their priests, their rabbis, their imam, whatever, instead of saying, you know what, why don't I try to find my way to the spirit realm by myself?
That's right. I was an altar boy in the Roman Catholic Church.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And at that time, the masses were in Latin.
Right.
And you repeated them parrot fashion, and didn't have an earthly idea of what things really meant. And there was an old priest at that time who had become a priest late in life. He'd been an engineer during his earlier life. And he was quite a curmudgeonly character, but was always very nice with me, and indeed wanted me to become a priest. And he died, of course. He was getting on in years when I knew him. But when I started working as a medium, one Sunday morning I was sitting with my uncle and my mother. My uncle needed some healing. And he came through. And he came through in a terrible state. He came through in his priestly vestments, and he was shaking. And I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong, Father? Why are you like this?" And he said, "Don't make the mistake I did. I was wrong. I was wrong about it all. Please don't make the mistake I did." And then he went. And so there you have it from a priest's mouth.
Well, there you have it. It's right. It's interesting because in his later years, my father, as you know, became a Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
And, even when he was dying, he thought that God had forsaken him because they promised him that anybody born after 1914 would never know death. So he felt like God had abandoned him. Through the years, I try to talk to him about my views on spirituality, Native American spirituality. And he really, he kind of poo-pooed it. But just like you had that experience, I had a similar experience because after my father died, he did come through to me. And he said to me the same thing pretty much. He says, I apologize. You were right and I was wrong. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter who was right or wrong. You know where you are now.
Yes.
Sometimes your parallels frighten me, Michael.
Sorry?
I said sometimes our parallels frighten me.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I'm like,
yes.
Who are you? Are you me having a more peaceful existence? And From Here to Infinity, you talk about so many interesting things. And one of the things I really loved was you talk about our lives as a film, a motion picture.
Yes.
And how we have the ability to alter not only our film, but our walk-on roles in other people's films that are happening.
Yes. Yes.
How does that happen? Can we find ourselves mixed up in somebody else's film when we're not even supposed to be there and we think we're a starring role when we're not even a cameo?
Well, the first thing we have to realize individually and as billions of people around this earth is that we are... Sorry, Maria, we've got disturbance from the front door.
That's
They'll have
okay.
to go away, whoever it is. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yes, we have to realize individually and as billions of people around this earth that we are in a play. We are in a play. We are... Sorry about this.
That's okay.
Would you
Happens to
excuse me a
too.
moment?
Sure, go right ahead. All right, we're going to take a short break, and I'll be right back. Hi, this is Maria Heller. If you're enjoying this show, please consider listening to the rest of it, along with hundreds of other hours of education, by a small subscription on my site. Get over to meria.net, meria.net. You are the only thing that supports this show. There's no corporate control, and there's plenty of education on site. So please consider either a subscription or a donation to keep the work going. There are too many alternative voices out there that are being silenced because of lack of support. So if you don't want MSM to be the only mind-controlling news out there, please consider supporting the people that support you and help us all save something for the future for our children. Thank you so much.